G'day team, Punt Road here, back with another YouTube video. Was really excited, if you've seen the short, to get down to the beach to record it. Fortunately, the wind was just too loud and it was stuffing around with my audio setup. By that I mean my phone, spare no expense with these videos. So instead I'm going to be doing it from the car today. It is about the one and the only Joe Satriani, Surfing with the Alien. That's why I was down at the beach. It's sad because we're going to miss out on the beautiful romance of the waves that are down there. We could have held hands, we could have walked along the beach, flowers, chocolates, and who knows what sort of romance would have happened. Instead, you get the back seat of the car, well, actually the front seat, but hey, whatever works. Joe Satriani, Surfing with the Alien, is something that does work. Now, this was a fantastic instrumental album. I absolutely loved it back in the day. I think it was one that a lot of people did. In Australia, it actually got up to number 10 on the charts. That's how popular it is. That's pretty huge for an album without vocals. But what was also pretty huge was that Joe Satriani did this on a very tight budget. He did it, as we said earlier, without a vocalist. He did it with a limited amount of equipment, and he did it really, really well. And I think it's probably his most popular album, and it's certainly the one that most people remember him by. So just very quickly going through a couple of the songs that are on here. So Surfing with the Alien, let's kick off with that. What an absolutely classic track that is. Starts off with the people making the noises as the alien surfs in. Now, Joe Satriani claims that he didn't know anything about Norrin Rad. That's the original name of the Silver Surfer. I'm a bit of a comic geek. Maybe I should do some videos on that. You can probably see by my Green Goblin shirt, I couldn't get a Surfing with the Alien one. That's the only one I had in stock up at Punt Road. So Surfing with the Alien, brilliant guitar-based song, as all of these ones are. He rips out some amazing solos, but it's been one that's really stuck with the public, and he performs it live and to much rapturous applause. Next after that, and I'm not going to go through all the songs, there's Ice 9, which is an excellent little rocker. Crushing Day, now that is, as the name says, it is crushing, not Crush 'Em by Megadeth, but Crushing Day. It has a real chunk to it. It has a 1987 feel from when this was recorded, and I think it works really well. But it's the only song on the album that Satriani had a idea. He just spec'd out the solo before he went in. He feels it now live that's hampered him a little bit, and that maybe, you know, looking back on it, like all the other songs, if he'd done it a bit more looser, if he'd just gone in and done it on feel, it would be a better thing when he performs that live. So that's a really interesting tidbit for everyone out here to know, that all the solos on this were done on the day, and they weren't pre-planned as such or pre-written. Always With Me, Always With You. Now that's the more ballady style. If you can have a ballad without vocals, I'm not sure. It's a lovely song. Would have been great for our romantic walk on the beach, but you know, maybe we just stick with the next track, Satch Boogie, in the car, steamy windows. Satch Boogie, a real rock and roll, high energy, high mover. Was used in Problem Child 2, if you remember that. Maybe you don't remember Problem Child 1. Maybe you just know Problem Child by AC/DC. That's where I know it from. But that's a really, really high energy, as I say, song. Almost sort of a rockabilly element to it. I'm a massive fan of that one too. He shows off all his skills on that song, and he just cannot be stopped. Towards the end of the album, Hill of the Skull, Circles, Lords of Karma, Midnight, and Echo. Certainly though, Hill of the Skull, Circles, Lords of Karma, and Midnight, sort of more creepy mood setting and ambience. They work really well. Midnight is actually, he employs the double finger tapping method throughout the song exclusively. He sort of challenged himself to write something like that, where he wouldn't be, you know, playing the guitar in the traditional manner, and that works very well. And Echo is an excellent song to round out, a fantastic closer. And if you have a guitar and you just want to play along to something, I can suggest to do that. It's not too difficult. For a young guitarist growing up, this was an excellent album. It was something that you could listen to and go, wow, this guy's amazing. But you could also pick your guitar up, and I could from ear, and I'm sure many of you could out there, just learn how the song was working, play along with it, learn those little bits of solos and licks. Maybe not perfectly as good as Joe, because Joe's a bit of one of a kind, but certainly you could give it a shot. This album was made on $13,000, so it was a very, very low budget album. He had limited time in the studio to do it and to get it done. Supposedly going to use 3 guitars, which I believe from memory were Kramer's and one Strat, and he used drum mixer or machine for a lot of it, other than Satch Boogie, which was the one that had live drums on there. And the final thing to remember about Joe, and look at the hat up there, is that Kirk Hammett actually had lessons with Joe Satriani, and he learned a lot of stuff of him. So not only did Joe go on beyond this, I mean, this was his second LP, but did he go on to have a fantastic solo career? He obviously worked with Deep Purple. They played Satch Boogie as part of their live sets. But he went on to have a fantastic solo career, many albums that he produced, lots of live shows, and his music has been used in a lot of different TV and movies, as we mentioned earlier. But on top of that, he had a big impact on one of the biggest bands in heavy music ever, in Metallica, and the work that he did with Kirk Hammett. So a very influential person. So Joe Satriani, Surfing with the Alien. The last thing that I forget to mention is, or I don't want to forget to mention, is the artwork. As I said earlier, Norin Rad, the Silver Surfer, he didn't know what it was. This became a source of contention later and copyright. And so when you have a look at current versions of this album, it has a guitar in place of the Silver Surfer floating along. Now, look, I get it. He has to do it. It's not his fault. But, gee, it's disappointing because that is fantastic artwork. And I believe if you look on the inside cover, that is Galactus's hand appearing there, also from the Marvel Comics. So disappointing that we don't get to have that artwork nowadays. But I've got it. You can see it here. And I'm sure you can find it on the web. Brilliant. Love it. Can't recommend it enough. Go and listen to it. He proved by its success that you don't need a vocalist to be a winner. You can actually create melody. You can create feel, ambience, drama, tension, all through instruments and all on a very low budget if you are skilled, committed and passionate like Mr. Joe Satriani. Thanks everyone. I also want to say thanks for listening, but thanks everyone for liking, sharing and subscribing. Comments not only on YouTube but also back on the Fantastic Metal Twitter X community. Your encouragement, your support, your ideas, concepts, everything that you've said to help me improve has been invaluable, and I'm so encouraged and so enthused by it. To see the subscription levels really rise up has been so pleasing for me. I am passionate about this and I want to bring you more, and the more you encourage me, hopefully the more that I can do. So thank you very much. Please subscribe, share, like, you know the drill. Enough for the shilling. Go out and listen to this. Thanks everyone, and as I always say, have a ripper mates. See ya. Bye.